Voices from the Mausoleum is brought to you by the You Run Podcast Network and yourunpodcast.com. Hello and welcome to another TV recap here at Voices from the Mausoleum. With me again is our friend Norin. How you doing, buddy?
Doing very good. Thank you again. I'm becoming a very, very often regular now, so it's awesome. Thank you for asking me to join again.
Hell yeah. Yeah, we love you, buddy. It's always a blast when you're on. So today we're talking an adaptation of one of our favorite animes, Yu Yu Hakusho, buddy.
Yeah. I'm excited to do this. I've been thinking about this a lot because I rewatched the live action. I did it once in the original language, and then I watched it in English as well. So I've seen the live action twice now.
Oh wow. How was the English dub?
I didn't mind it. It was pretty fresh too. I liked it. I still like the original one better, but the English dub isn't that bad.
Okay. It's funny. With anime, I can easily just watch the English dub. I'm not usually one of those sticklers where I have to watch it in Japanese. But for something in live action, the dub always throws me off because I'm like, I know it's not their voices. Oh no, we lost you.
Are we back?
We're back. Oh man, that's fine. No, I was saying when it comes to dubs, for live action, it's always hard for me to sort of get into it because I'm like, I know that's not their voices and the lips and that throws me off.
Yep. Yeah, for me, it typically doesn't bother me that much because, like, growing up, most of the foreign films and anime shows that I watched were all English dubbed. I didn't really start watching the original languages until I got into my older adult years.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, anime, I'm good with watching the English, but yeah, for live action, it's like my husband watched. There was like a heist show on Netflix. Is it called Heist? I don't know. It's like a Spanish language show, but he watched it dubbed. I was like, this is weird. Money Heist, I think it's called.
Okay.
I don't know. It was pretty popular. Yeah, he said it was really good. I totally probably butchered the title. It might not be called Money Heist. It might be. I don't know. But yeah, let's dive into Yu Yu Hakusho. So, general reactions to the 5 episodes that we got.
Okay, so my general impressions from the 5 episodes is that my key thing is that I think they really found a way to make it their own thing and their own way about it, and it really does feel like the people who wrote it and the creators of the show really do love the anime. Like, they really do love the anime because they know their history, they know certain things about the anime. So I thought that was really cool. And I think we kind of talked about this a little bit. Softcore was that the horror, they leaned a little bit more into like a lot of the horror elements with the live action, which was cool.
Which is why we're bringing it on this channel, because otherwise, people will be like, why are you talking about this anime adaptation? I mean, yes, there were some horror undertones in this adaptation, which was refreshing.
Definitely. And also the cinematography and the look of it. I thought production-wise, it looked really good. And cinematography, it didn't look like that cheap cosplay type stuff. It looked like real, like good production design.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, to echo everything that you said, I mean, you felt the love for the show in these 5 episodes. I appreciated that because a lot of anime adaptations, and I think we've seen this with Full Metal Alchemist, Bleach, a handful of them, they'll really truncate it into like a movie. They really won't. I mean, other than we just got before this, we got One Piece, which was I don't know. Did you see that series?
I haven't watched that one yet. No. I've seen the anime, but I haven't watched the live action yet.
So I'm opposite. I've never seen the anime, but I watched the live action. But the reactions that I've read, like the reviews of anime fans, have said like there was a lot of love for that there. But they really paid attention to the art, the characters, and the arc, and I think that was 8. I think it was like 8 episodes. But really well done. I mean, I couldn't speak as far as an adaptation, but just a lot of love put into that 8 episodes, and they took their time. I think for Yu Yu Hakusho, it's not a super long anime in terms of like compared to something like One Piece, right? Like Yu Yu
Yeah.
Hakusho is 120 something episodes.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah,
lot
so it's
shorter than Bleach, yeah, and One Piece for sure.
right, shorter than One Piece, Bleach, like Dragon Ball, like those are hundreds of episodes, right? Well, with One Piece, we're talking about like we all get into thousands, right? Think of that. But no, but I feel like they, even with it being 5 episodes, it was like 2 movies. They were able to sort of do sort of like really the first saga in these 5 episodes. I know they sort of took a little liberty with some of the key moments, especially that final battle.
Yeah.
Because really, if you remember the anime, right? I mean, there were really 2 Toguro battles, right?
Yeah, so that's what kind of bothered me the most is like when I was thinking about it and I watched it that second time, I was like, man, they could have did that fight as the first fight from the anime, and it would have been
Hmm.
totally fine. Like, that's
Yeah,
what, to be honest, that's what I think they should have did. And I know why. I read an article that the creators said that they didn't think they were going to get a second season, so that's why they tried to get as much in to the
yeah,
show as possible. But I feel like, oh man, that's where they really screwed up. I think the ending fight should have been the first fight from the anime, where the Tagoros trick Kuwabara and Yusuke into thinking that they beat them, and then
yeah,
they end up going back to them. And then you could have did the ending thing where it set up the dark tournament. But then again, like they said, if they didn't get a second season, then we would have been like, like what? We would have been the fans that were bitching and moaning about the fact that we didn't get a second season.
I know. Was it renewed?
Oh, I don't know yet. I haven't actually heard any news yet, as far as I know. As far as I know, I
Yeah.
haven't heard.
I should have researched that before we even hopped on because I don't think there has been an announcement.
Yeah, as
Um,
far as I know, all the stuff I've been hearing about is the Wednesday, Stranger Things, and then that new Sofia Vergara show. So that's like the only stuff I've been hearing about.
so nothing to do with the Yu Yu Hakusho.
No, yeah, because like Netflix, yeah, they've been making a lot of moves recently. They've been doing a lot of big things.
A lot of big stuff. I didn't even hear of this Sofia Vergara show.
Oh yeah, she plays like a mobster wife. It's a new TV show on there.
I'm into that. I do love her. So yeah, I'm not even saying I'm going on the bottom of the IMDb news page. I'm not seeing anything about the renewals. So hope fingers crossed. But with that in mind, if we only are getting these 5 episodes, they've cut out so much. And I'm sort of jumping to the end here, but like, was it satisfying? Did we feel like this is a good version, if you will, of Yu Yu Hakusho, even if it's not a complete adaptation?
Yeah. I kind of like it as like an alternate version to watch. Like I could have fun with it. Like I said, there's still some negatives I have with it, but I knew going in it would never match like the anime for me because the Yu Yu Hakusho holds like a very
Yeah.
special place in my heart. Like I discovered it at a certain age when I was a teenager, and basically the show got me through middle school. That's the best way to describe it is that the
Yeah.
show got me through middle school, and that was kind of like one of my closest friends was staying up late to watch this show and everything.
Tsunami, baby, right?
Oh yeah, so that's why I knew it would never match that. But I do like it. But after watching it that second time, I can tell that it wouldn't be something that I would revisit a lot. Like there would
Yeah.
be a lot of times where I would just think, "Oh, well, I would rather watch the anime." Like you know what I mean? Or I missed that. I want to watch it like that. You know?
Rather just watch the core story. Have you ever read the manga? I have not.
I haven't read the manga. No.
They just released it on so I subscribe to, oh gosh, what's the app called? It's not the Shonen Jump uh
Okay.
and Viz manga apps. And they're like $1 and change, $2 and change a month. And it's unlimited manga chapters.
Wow, that's cool.
So they just opened up Yu Yu Hakusho as part of the subscription.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm like, all right, I might have to dive into that now rather than I don't have to buy all the 19 volumes of it. But I mean, let's like really dive into it. Maybe we'll go a little bit episode by episode. There's only 5, so we can kind
Sure.
of get through it relatively easy. So for the first episode, in terms of like the big introduction, right? How did you feel about this interpretation of Yusuke? Did you feel like it was true to the character? How did the actor handle it?
I think it was actually pretty good. Like I found a way where I was caring about the character pretty quick. Like I found
Mhm.
it where I watched that first episode and like within the good 10 minutes they had me hooked and I was already caring about the character and caring about the story. There were some other side characters I was a little bothered by, like side characters, but we didn't really get enough time with his mom's character, which
Yeah.
is a very prominent character in the anime. So we didn't get a lot of time with her, and that relationship is a very like prominent thing in the anime. So that's one thing I was a little upset about, but I was hooked into Yusuke's character and I was already caring about him.
Yeah. I think where this adaptation shines is Yusuke and Kuwabara. I think
Yeah.
those two really nail it. Like, even if, we don't get as much with the mom, I was like okay with this version of Botan. Um, who else? I mean, Hiei and I mean, we'll get through them all, but like, really, Kuwabara and Yusuke in this pilot is
Where the
absolutely
connection
wonderful.
thing.
Like,
Yeah.
they don't fully quite bond, I don't think, by this episode. But the little like love hate rivalry there is so well done.
Oh
We
yeah.
see it with, well, first, like with Yusuke, like I love his I think the actor really nails the snarky, just total
That
like
cocky attitude that
pessimistic.
he walks around with. Yeah. He
Yeah,
walks
just
around like he's yeah.
totally nails that. Kuwabara, right? I mean, I think that love hate rivalry is wonderful. When Yusuke, I thought, okay, so what was your reaction to him dying? Because I thought they handled that was pretty wild. I thought.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, see, what was cool about this one is they found a way to do like flavorful new things with similar stuff that we've seen done already. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like for instance, the spirit world, the way it looks is completely different from the anime. Like said, the sequence when he dies, like they handled it in a different way where it was fresh. You know what I mean, and
Hmm.
everything. So we've seen it before, but cinematography wise, style wise, it was all their own thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in the anime, right? It's very quick. It's a beautiful moment where he's like sort of just like looking at this kid who's about to get hit. And they really change it. They make it really brutal in this show.
Yeah.
Like, that truck pummels the crap out of him. Like, my jaw literally dropped watching that. I was like, oh my god. I mean, CGI, was hit or miss here, but like
Yeah.
in general in the show, but like I can forgive it. It's a lower budget adaptation. Like, I'm still in. I was like, holy crap. They were like, all right, nope, no questions asked. He died.
Yeah, he's dead. Yep.
But like the idea, because I don't remember that. I don't think that was in the anime, right, where the truck driver was possessed in that moment, right, or like there was that
No.
demon. Yeah, and I
Yeah,
and I
that was
sort of
my feeling.
loved where they bring in these like demons coming out of the spirit world, really sort of messing with uh
Yeah.
the human world in a much more interconnected kind of way.
Oh yeah. See, that was an element that they took from one of the other later arcs. Like in Yu Yu Hakusho, there's a later arc, Chapter Black, and they
Hmm.
ended up taking that they kind of took that a little bit from that when there's the hole is kind of opening up between the our world and the spirit world, and there's slowly like these little insects that would come out and infect other people in our
Right,
world.
that's right.
So they kind of took that a little bit from Chapter Black, so it was kind of cool. Mhm.
Yeah, like like we were saying, like, yeah, they don't know if they were gonna get that other season, so we might as well pull in elements. But you know what, though, they do get a second season, there's still so much more that they could pull in, right? What's kind of cool is like they're sort of marrying all of the arcs, so we can kind of get different, just like just a different iteration, a different version of it, which is kind of which can be kind of cool. I also really liked the interactions with the bullies in this episode, in the pilot.
Yeah.
Um, where he's really like, you can tell, like, there was no question. He's snarky, but you can sort of tell. I mean, because we know Yusuke from the anime, we really get his deal. But I think they did a great way of showing, like, he wants to pretend like he doesn't care. Like, he really comes off that way, but like the heart is there. And you see that early on with the bully and the classmate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was cool because that was in a little nice little tidbit that wasn't in the anime. So that was cool that they kind of did that. That was a quick way for them to get us to, like, humanize his character real fast, you know what I mean, without having to spend so much time with him, because in the anime we end up spending much more time with these characters, so we go through more stuff with them. Like, they kind
Yeah.
of skipped over the Saint Beast saga. They
Yeah.
skipped over that whole entire saga, which is a big connective tissue saga for why Hiei and Kurama trust Yusuke and Kuwabara in the first place, and they kind of skip over all that. So they had to do a lot of other sneaky little kind of small things to make us care for these characters or to make them connect.
Absolutely. It's subtle, but it's great. I know, yeah, so they introduced the sinkhole. Uh so he dies, and then that's where we're introduced to Botan, right? And this transition of like bringing him into the spirit world to meet Koenma. Um
Mm,
that boat ride I thought was absolutely stunning. Like you said, like it looks
yeah.
different from the anime, the spirit world, but this representation was just gorgeous.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it was really cool, and I was pretty surprised. Like, I actually really liked Koenma in this. Like, the actor that they got to play him, I thought was fantastic. He was
He was really
like
good.
Oh yeah, like he had this stoic nature about him, very stern and stuff, and I like the way he portrayed him. I'm happy that they didn't go with like the kind of baby look thing,
No,
because I knew if they did that, we would catch hell for that. It would have looked so stupid.
no, I think that was smart. There are things that you can get away with animation that you can't with live
Yeah,
action. And you really can't fault an adaptation for that. When you change mediums, you do have to change certain things. I think just seeing this little kid, I mean, I guess you could have cast a kid. I mean, I don't know. But no, I think having the older Koenma throughout was consistent. You don't really necessarily have to explain any difference. It just sort of just make Koenma Koenma. I mean, he has the little thing for whatever reason.
yeah, the pacifier. Yeah, like
Little pacifier, yeah,
as fans, we know why later in the show, but
yeah, yeah, yeah. They sort of drop it there, right? But that's okay. Yeah, no, I thought he was great. And so they offer him this role, and so we know he turns it down. And it really doesn't take. It takes really the possession, right? So it's sort of, or no, him going down to see his funeral,
yeah, we have to
right?
have
And
that.
and despite not really getting much with the mom, I did think the moment, because I do agree with you on that. I think the moment between mom and Keiko at the funeral was pretty touching.
Yeah, she did good. The young actress who played Keiko, yeah, she did good, and their chemistry in that scene was really good. The way they were talking and stuff.
Yeah, and you could feel the guilt on Yusuke's part, and sort of the him really questioning, like, this, he's starting to peel the layers, right, and question the way um the way he acts and the way he treats people, and really pushing them away. And I think, right, so the layers in his character are starting to peel there. But I thought that was beautiful. Keiko was great. Yeah, the reason why I said with Botan, she was a lot more bubbly in this version, right, than in the end. I remember her not being so bubbly. I remember her being
I
a
think
little more straight, you know?
Yeah, more just normal, kind of straightforward. I liked, I don't know, like the anime. She's just so, like, there's just something about the anime, like you said. There's something about that specific version of her character and stuff. And I didn't think the girl who did the live action was bad. She's just
No, I
very
don't fault the actress.
different.
Yeah, I think it's just Botan came off a little more wise in the anime. I felt like you
Yeah.
sort of trusted her a little bit more in that iteration. This one, I'm always like, I don't think you got this, girl. Like, I don't, I don't know if I trust you as much. You seemed a little more aloof. Whereas in that Botan, I feel like I felt at ease with that version.
Yeah.
Um, but it's just a different iteration. We're not going to love every element of it. Um, but So yeah, this is really where. Well, I don't want to shy away from Kuwabara at the funeral, right? Because then we get this big moment where Kuwabara comes in. He's so pissed off that Yusuke's dead, and they didn't get to really finish their
Yeah.
fight. Um, that was yeah. I think that actor. I don't know his name. I have to go on the IMDb, but he killed it. I thought.
I think yeah, out of all the main cast of the main four, I think he was the best. I think he was the best casted, like for sure. If I was to pick the one who
Yeah,
embodied their character the most, I think he got the Kuwabara thing down pretty hardcore.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the hair was a little more subtle. I mean, that's more of a character. That was a design choice, but we still had a little pompadour going.
Yeah.
Um, but and I totally, you know what, one of my favorite parts of this episode, it was the shot. It was after they were fighting, and then Yusuke just drop kicks him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so good.
That's what's cool too. The physical stunt work, the actual physical fighting and stunt work was really good too. The fight choreography, all that stuff, because it wasn't a lot of quick cut editing or anything like that. Like we actually saw them physically fight and the stunt people. It was really good.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's okay. So yeah, but now we really get into the horror now after the funeral, right? So like the bullies and the classmate show back up, and then we see this classmate get possessed, um, and really that like we talk about the physicality of it, like that actor's body work as he's getting possessed was
Yeah.
pretty creepy. Like it was great.
Oh yeah, because
Um,
I think that's why like a lot of people don't realize that when this was what the American name for Yu Yu Hakusho is Ghost Files. So this
mhm.
is a show that's always had roots in horror. Like it's always had, something going on with horror. It has elements of demons and possession and all this stuff. And Yusuke is a spirit detective. That's what he's here to do, is to help protect our world from all that stuff and everything. So I thought it was really cool, like you said, that they had a lot of this kind of crazy contortionist horror stuff going on. It was really fun.
Yeah, yeah, I thought that fight was pretty, like, brutal, intense, the physicality. Now was it on the level of, like, maybe, like, a Daredevil fight scene? Maybe not, but, like, it was pretty freaking solid.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah,
And creepy, so I enjoyed it. But so we saw he used his spirit energy for the first time to fight the possessed boy or bring him back,
yeah,
and really, he uses it to sort of knock the demon out of him. Yeah, I mean, if most Exorcist films ended like that, I'd be more. You know what? That'd be a welcome change. Just knock the demon out of people with some spirit energy.
yeah. Just slap it out of them. You're like, oh, get
Oh
out of
yeah.
here.
Uh, but then yeah, so then he sort of agrees, and then he's given, the next mission is sort of around these three artifacts, right? We've got the blade, we have the book,
And
and what's
there's
the other one?
the mirror, right?
The mirror. The mirror. That's right.
Yeah,
The mirror. So the blade, the book, and the mirror are the three. Um, and then so that really leads us into really this first arc, right? Because the whole, if I remember correctly, in the anime, it took him like 5 episodes to get back to his body.
it took him. I would say three. I think it was like three before he got back. Yeah, like 3 or 4. So it was pretty close before he actually got to the body, because they have the whole episode where he actually has to pull it out of the fire, like get Keiko to go in and pull it out of the fire, get
Oh yeah,
Kuwabara to
yeah.
step in, and he actually physically possesses Kuwabara's body and fights the gang guys to get to the place and everything. So yeah, there's a good amount more in that one.
Right, right. So they really do truncate it, but I think well enough. Where it feels like a solid start to this version.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, but then we really dive in, and we start to get our first look at the thieves, right? And so episode 2 brings us the fight with Goki.
Okay. Yep.
We learn more about the artifacts. So we have the fight. So we really so the first half is Goki, right? What did you think about that the Goki case?
The anime was, or the CGI was a little like, but I could forgive it just because they committed on that one. That one I was like, you can't really go like any other kind of way with that. I think If any other
Mm-mm.
kind of way, I could have seen them leaning into maybe like a Goro type suit, like Goro from the '90s Mortal
Mhm.
Kombat, like do a suit like that. But I thought just having Yusuke fight him and stuff it was pretty cool. So they kind of like you said, they did the first arc where he meets Kurama and Hiei for the first time. They just kind of skipped over that next kind of bonding arc. That's what they skipped
Mhm.
over.
The bonding arc, right, right. Well, because it's in here, right? Because this episode you get Kurama with the mirror and his
Yeah.
mother, um, and so
Which I thought that was more emotional in the anime. That I was
yeah,
kind of upset about because oh man, that moment is so good in the anime, like seeing like Kurama over the mirror and he's like, about to sacrifice himself for the thing, and then you see Yusuke just jump in there and do it with him too. And you're like, what the hell? Like he just met him. He doesn't even know this guy. He's like,
yeah.
I'm not gonna let you do this, like, and your mom, be alive and you not be here. She's gonna be so mad. So he's like
But we do. I mean, yeah, I definitely don't know if the emotions, because again, we haven't spent as much time with these characters as we have in the anime by this point, so these big emotional beats just don't hit as hard. I mean, I think it's like we know if we could, as anime fans, we can kind of sort of like imagine the rest of the stuff is happening, but we sort of plug it in, and it's like, okay, this is what's happening between the scenes. you
Yeah.
know, we could maybe trick ourselves into feeling it, but yeah, no, we just have to deal with what's on the screen. But yeah, but then we get the whole explanation of Kurama as a demon, and he sort of possessed this infant.
Yeah.
So I think that was something that confused me as a kid when I first watched the anime. I was like, wait, he's a demon, but he's a human. But I don't get like what. But no, I think they do a pretty good job at explaining it here in this adaptation, at least.
Oh yeah, they do a good job. Plus they do the like after the episodes in the beginning, how they do the connective, like this is what happened, and like kind
Mhm.
of thing, which something that they did in the anime too. They would kind of give you like little catch up things at the beginning of the episode to kind of
Yeah.
get you where you're at.
Previously on.
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, so yeah, and then we get so in this version, right? So Yusuke, well, similarly to the anime, but yeah, sacrifices half his life to help Kurama's mother.
Yeah.
And then here we get Kuwabara. Oh, this is okay because it's all in like the hospital. So Kuwabara, he's witnessing the supernatural events. He's sort of getting keyed into what's going on here. And I think this is the episode where they're just sort of like buddy, walking down the hall together. I
Yeah.
think this is the shot that I remember, and I remember taking a picture of it. I was like, "This is
Yeah.
so
The
sweet."
shot, and then you shared it. Yep.
And they're like walking down. I'm like, "Oh, best friends. I love them."
But that's one thing I don't remember them doing. They didn't do in the live action was they leaned more into that in the anime. Was that Kuwabara was kind of he heard things like he already felt things. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
He felt ghosts and he can kind of hear ghosts because I remember them doing that a lot in the anime. He always felt when like creepy stuff was around or he knew
Yeah.
when stuff was going on. He had like that other intuition going on.
He had more of the sixth sense, right? And
Yeah,
then in this, it was more of like yeah. I guess that's the thing is like if you can't really kind of commit to the subplot, if you can't dedicate enough time, just sort of wipe it all together, you
yeah,
know. But yeah, and then we sort of get that quick flash of not quick flash, sorry, is Hiei steals the blade, and
yes,
he this is where the Hiei battle comes in, right? It's just sort of Hiei fighting. Is
yeah.
this
And then
right?
and I can't
Um,
remember. This is the episode when he does the
he does
thing.
get
He
the
uses
third
the
eye.
blade. Yeah,
He does get the third eye by the end of this one. And then we go into Hiei's episode. So really, so this third episode is broken down into the two arcs. You have Hiei, and then you have Genkai, right? And so Hiei and Yusuke fight in this, and like sort of leaving Yusuke, like kind of leaves him alive. And then
Mhm.
we get a little more explanation. Tarukane, he's selling us the sinkhole to
Yeah.
Sakio, right?
Yeah, that was cool that they brought them in. That was kind of cool that they had that whole backstory and side stuff with the villain characters. They gave us a little more with those characters, which was kind of cool. And yeah,
Mhm.
Sakio's character was great. That dude was fantastic. He did a really good job.
The villains were pretty solid. I would say,
Oh,
like, even with, like, the Toguro brothers, I really enjoyed in this.
yeah.
There's
Farukane was, you love to hate him. You love to hate that guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I mean, like, yeah, even if the CGI isn't like the best, like, you could still sort of buy in. Like, if the performance, the voice acting,
Yeah,
all of that is, the energy is there, you could sort of buy into it.
definitely. Yeah, you
You
can
know.
feel that they committed to it. You can feel that they want the actors and actresses committed to their characters. Definitely.
Hmm. Right, right. And then then we kind of find out that there's the sinkhole is sold for Kurime, which we learn is
Oh,
Hiei's sister.
Yukina, Hiei's sister. Yeah, Hiei's
Hiei's
sister. Yeah.
sister, Yukina. Yeah. So we find that out, and so we're getting a little more. They give us the motivation for Hiei here. How
Yeah.
did you find this done, sort of versus the anime?
I thought her character, introducing her character, I thought they did a really good job. I didn't mind that, and I liked how they did the kind of soft backstory about the guy who kind of starts liking her and wants to help her escape, and then like they stop him. They kind of did that, which was a big little kind of just little side plot in the
Mhm.
anime, but it's a big deal, and it's why she doesn't want to escape later. Because she's afraid of people getting hurt and all that. But I kind of found they messed up Hiei's like origin stuff and the whole Jagan Eye thing. So I was cool with his sister and that storyline, but I wasn't cool with the stuff they were doing about Hiei's specific character.
Yeah, yeah. Hiei, I feel like out of everyone, sort of got the softball. Sort of, kind of got
Yeah,
you know. Yeah. I mean, I think even Kurama had a little bit better here, than Hiei. That's sort of the. I mean, they could always do a little bit more if they do have a second season. Maybe bring in some, like, more elements. But yeah, like the stuff with the sister, I thought was that like you said, that half
yeah,
was pretty solid. And then we move on to the training with the master, Genkai. I thought
yeah,
she was, I thought she was great.
yeah. She was cool. Yeah, she was really sweet. I liked it a lot. Like she had that mothering nature to her. She wasn't as tough. I would say that she was much more naturey and nurturing
Mhm.
in the live action. In the anime, she's much more stern, much more tough, like that hard ass kind of grandmother. But I
Yeah.
still think she did a very good job.
No, absolutely. I mean, again, this is a sort of a different version, but I mean, I think versus, like, compared to, like, the change with, like, Botan, I feel like with Genkai, I appreciated the more, like, nurturing version. I mean, because I think with however many episodes that we had, for her to go from, like, hardened toughy to, having a more nurturing side, I mean, it would have taken a little while for that to, for us to sort of get that buy-in. I think you needed a little bit of a softer character to sort of, like, be like, okay, all right, she's their guide. She's going to really help them and get them moving forward, towards being able to take on our baddies this season.
Yeah.
You know, but the training stuff was pretty fun, like the combat, in, like, the dojo,
Yeah.
at the temple, and then the balancing on, like, the pin. I
Yeah.
thought everything looked pretty good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and Kuwabara's training was fun, like seeing his character. That was a good triumphant moment for his character and stuff, and they did it really well. So I think that episode might be probably one of the strongest, like that episode just in general, because of that
Mhm.
whole bonding and building of their characters and Genkai and stuff. I wanted just a little bit more like of that. That's why I think, to be honest, I think this show could have did really well if they would have had just 3 more episodes. Like if it could have been an 8 episode season, that would have helped them so much more.
100%, 100%. I don't know what made them pick, like, 5. Is that all Netflix would give them? Why was it 5?
I heard that the creators, not 100% sure, but I heard like that they apparently took the down cut to 5 because they wanted more money to do the special effects and some of the production stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. Guess that makes sense.
Yeah, so they decided to be like, oh well, we'll take the 5 episodes instead of 8 and like get more money so that they could pump out. And I think they did some on-set location shooting too and stuff that cost money and everything too.
Yeah. That's such a hard sacrifice. I don't know. I think I love story. I love, I think it should always be story versus everything else. But then again, right, if it's really bad, then it's really hard to get the buy-in. So I don't know, like in terms of like the effects. So that's really
I don't
tough.
think it would have been like Flash level bad. As long as it wasn't like Flash level bad, I think we would have been okay.
Yeah, yeah. I think you could have probably cut some, and it's really not like if you did a suit for someone like for Goki, right? Like
Yeah.
that would have been. I mean, like, but Buffy had plenty of suits on that show, and they all, and I mean, not all of them were great, but they didn't look like Party City costumes, you know?
Yeah, you just got to get some really good painters. You got to get some really good painters, really good, makeup special effects artists, and they can do
That's
the
it.
job.
That's it. I mean, granted, those people still need to get paid, but I don't know cost versus CG. I don't know. But I do know that, I mean, I know computer artists and just digital artists, and they do tend to not get paid what they're worth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know that there's a big. I honestly, I feel like those will be the next to strike.
Oh, yeah. I've heard because of some of the treatment from Marvel and DC, like the special effects artists are kind of getting really mad about what they're asking them to do and the amount of time they want them to get it done.
Yeah, it's borderline cruel. I mean, they don't really like think about like the execs. I mean, this is a total tangent, but like the people at the top. I mean, isn't this true for everything? The people at the top always make the most, and then it's sort of like everyone else that does like the labor, like the hard work. They don't get what they deserve, right? It's like you're the one that's breaking your back, no sleep, giving us the product that we enjoy, right?
Yep.
Just pay your people. Come on, everyone. Just
Oh yeah,
pay your
there's enough.
staff.
There's enough money right there. Just pay the people.
Just pay them. Oh my god, it's so. Stop being selfish. I'm
Sure.
gonna give you one of Yusuke's like spirit energy slaps. But anyway, that enough of that tangent. Yeah, and then so then it ends with sorry, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. So
We were talking about the
younger
training.
Toguro kills Genkai. So Genkai's death comes really fast.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was another like a huge mistake too. And like I was like, damn, like there were so many things that I was like, but I understand after reading that, and they're like, we didn't think we were getting a second season. That's why they did. But I still was like, oh, that's something they should have left open because like she's so prominent and so huge in so many other moments in the show that are going to come later in the other arcs, and they're not going to have her at all there. I mean, the one thing they're going to get away with is they're going to bring her back to life, probably how they did. If they do a second season, they're going to bring her back how they did in the anime, similar. But I
Yeah.
don't know how they're going to do it because she ends up possessing Pooh, which is his spirit animal, which is not brought up in this show at all. They don't bring that up at all. She does. He doesn't get the egg from Kawinma, and he gives him the egg, and he's like, everything you do, all the positive, all the good, whatever decisions you make is going to go into this egg, and then it'll hatch one day.
Unless they do something sneaky and like the egg was always around, but he didn't know it was there. I don't know.
Yeah, they could maybe. Yeah, that'd be something they could pop up, like maybe Botan kind of slipped it on him, or Kawinma, slipped it in him, and they're
Yeah.
like,
Or
oh,
like
this is the
somehow it was
recipe.
connected to him and it was just in Koema's place or something. I don't know. But they could do some weird. Maybe Genki comes back as a spirit instead.
Yeah, let's see, they can do that, but like that's why I'm a little nervous because they did the whole. What was it? That certain scene. I mean, we're kind of jumping ahead, but they did a certain scene with Genkai and Toguro later. Like we'll get into that later when we get to that
Oh yeah.
episode. But so I'm like, I don't know. She could come back. There's possibilities, but it's looking like she won't.
Yeah, I know. There was closure there. But yeah, so young Toguro, the youngest Toguro brother, kills Genkai. Sakyo attempts to open the rift in this episode, and then Elder Toguro kidnaps Keiko. And it's sort of this is sort of the big swing into like the final 2 episodes. We're kind of getting into like the final arc already, which is
Yeah,
what.
it's like this is well, not the climax, like the climb. This is the climb before we get to the big
Right, like
stuff.
well, like Act Two is in big full swing here.
Yeah,
Well, I think if you look at the 5 episodes, like you really, I always try to look at it like a movie structure, right? You get 3 act structure. The middle of Act Two is depending on like if it's a tragedy, the middle of Act Two is usually the high point, get you positive, and then it's slowly, like, or if it's ends with a positive swing, middle of Act Two is a low point. So since there's a positive ending here, generally, right?
yeah,
So this is our low, right? Like best friend's kidnapped, our mentor's dead, like we're at a big low here,
yeah.
you know. So now we have to go to the island. So Hiei, Kurama, they're fighting the yokai on the island. And then all these sort of like I don't even know what you would call them. These like these mobsters. They're all betting on. It's pretty much just like where we got a little bit of like a dark tournament situation, but not. It's weird. So they're all betting on the outcomes of these battles.
Yeah, it's like those rich people. Like, yeah, they do that a little bit. See, that's why I just wanted it to be that first battle because when you see the anime, it's Sakio and all his cohorts, and they're
Hmm.
betting, and on Tagoro and the other brother to beat Kuwabara and Yusuke. And that's what I kind of wanted it to be. That little like stadium room battle. Set up
Yeah,
the arena, the big screens with all the guys up there, talking crap and betting money and everything, and then them prevail, but then find out that well, they kind of let us win, and it was a cheat because Sakio wanted to make more money, so there's a bigger fight ahead. So they kind of set it up almost perfect, but then they decided to do make it the last battle.
I know. So there's like a split before we really get to the final battle here, right? Everyone's sort of spread out looking for Yukina and Keiko. And there's some really good battles in this. Kurama gets some great stuff with his whip in
Yeah,
this
the rose
episode,
whip was
right?
great.
Was that
The rose whip, yeah, I love the
the
rose
Rose
whip.
Whip? I
That's
thought that
great.
I thought that was very beautifully choreographed. The battle,
Oh yeah.
Kurama's battle. And then we've got and then Hiei. So they both win. So Hiei's got his battle going on. Again, Hiei again getting the short stick. I just feel like they really did not. I feel like they didn't pay as much
They robbed
attention.
us of having a really good Hiei character because of the Jagan Eye thing. They really messed up that backstory thing, and then the fact that he's able to do the darkness flame already. That was a little agitating because I was like, "Are you serious?" That's a huge part of the dark tournament when we get to it is him kind of having that moment where he's like, "Well, Yusuke is stronger than me. I need to do something to meet that because Yusuke's here and I'm here. I need to be
Right.
here with him." So like they totally robbed us of good future event stuff that could happen with Hiei's character.
Yeah, no, that's a real bummer. But Kurama had some good stuff. Kurama, he's
Yeah,
and then the battle with Kuwabara, Toguro. Like I think Kuwabara generally, because he got his sword, right?
yeah, his spirit sword. It's more Okuwabara's always more of the he did great, the actor. That's why I love it. He's always more of that it's that belief, you know what I mean? Even though he's not the strongest guy in the room, he's like,
Mhm.
he just believes like in the good in the world and like that they're gonna prevail, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's got the metaphorical spirit, right?
Yeah.
And I think that yeah, no, I think the actor did a great job with that there too. And then the wormhole is opening to the demon world, and then Sakio challenges Yusuke to fight to defeat younger Toguro.
Mhm.
And so really, we're kind of taking the big swing into our final episode here,
Yeah.
our finale. So Koenma steps in to create a barrier with a sinkhole, which I thought looked good.
That was cool, yeah.
It did look really good, for them bringing in sort of the sinkhole and all of that part, those elements of the anime. It was a good part, it was kind of an interesting way to fuse it all.
Yeah. And that's cool too.
Um,
Like if they do the second season, there, like I said, there's room for improvement. There's all up from here. If they do a second season, I think there's all room for improvement. I don't really think they could do much worse besides, like I said, the Hiei character. That seems to be our biggest agreement on their what they
Yeah.
messed up the most.
So unfortunate because he's so good. He's so cool. And it's like,
That was a lot of my friends. That was their favorite character when I was a kid. Yu Yu Hakusho was always Hiei. That was everybody's favorite character.
I know, I know. Maybe in 20 years we'll get another adaptation.
It's possible. It's possible. We could still get a movie. Like I said, we could still get a big budget movie. I wouldn't be upset if we had a big budget movie try at it.
Yeah, I mean, I think this did pretty well on Netflix. But let's wrap before we kind of go into just kind of summary and kind of final
Yeah.
wrap up. So yeah, so we get this big fight. So yeah, so he puts the barrier around the sinkhole, and then just this sort of big fight. Hiei, Kurama, Kuwabara, they join Yusuke against Toguro.
Bui. Yeah, in Toguro, we see Bui, and we get to see Karasu as well. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I know you were excited to see them.
Yeah, Bui was my biggest one. That was like, oh man, that like he's softcore. Probably my favorite of the Toguro crew is Bui. I
Mhm.
love his story and stuff, and like seeing him go up against Hiei in live action form. It was really cool. Even like I had problems with Hiei, just the way it looked. It was so cool just to see them go up against each other and like the big axe. That CGI didn't look goofy at all. That looked like really freaking good. Everything they did with Bui looked
Yeah.
fantastic.
I say, yeah, you don't get much of the story. You don't really, but like visually, it looked great. Just to see, like, hey, we get this cool representation. We get to sort of have some of it in live action. It's a treat. Where at the anime is like the full meal. This live
Yeah,
action is a snack, right?
that's a perfect way to look at it. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, if you just want a quick little something sweet, go for the live action, right? But yeah, I mean, so Sakio closes the rift. He offs himself. And then we get the little stinger at the end, though, with Togoro's severed head on the beach,
Yeah,
alive. So it was, what it was a lot like, it reminded me of, remember at the end of Freddy versus Jason?
yeah.
Where
Yeah, and the wink from Freddy. And he's like,
yeah, yeah. Pretty much, that's what that reminded me of.
yeah. So that's what's cool is that little stinger at the end was kind of a setup because that's kind of how he gets found by a certain character who ends up being our next villain for Yusuke. That's how he gets found in the anime and
Yeah,
ends up becoming a prominent character because as we know, the elder Tagoro brother stays around. We already kind of know that, so we could kind of spoil that a little bit. He ends up staying around and is a continuous villain for these characters.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah. So we actually didn't even go into like the afterlife stuff, like with Toguro being a former student with
Yeah.
Master Genki. I mean, I thought that was handled pretty well as far as like why he targeted her and sort of what that whole that backstory. Where I thought that, again, I thought that backstory was handled pretty well.
I liked it because I thought I wasn't mad about how they handled her death. I was just mad about where it was at in the place of the show. Like you said,
It
like
was
it
the
would have
big
been so much better if it was later in
Yeah,
season 2 and 3. But the way they handled it, I'm typically a person that's like I want to see everything. I hate when you don't show me, but I
yeah.
thought they did it really good where they're like, not let's not show the fight. Let's get them hooked into the emotions of these characters and their backstory, and then just show the aftermath. And like she's there, and then you see him kind of like just putting his jacket on, and he's like, "It's done," and you're like, "Oh man."
I know. But yeah, I thought that afterlife moment with them was good. There's that little singer. I thought it was very sweet with them, all of them on the ship together, sort of just sailing away.
Yeah,
Kind of there's like a moment of levity there. It did feel good. Like I wasn't so put off by some of the changes or the lack of development with some characters that I couldn't really like just sort of let it go and just enjoy. I really sort of was able to just enjoy this group of characters and what they brought to
yeah.
the table. And yeah, like I said, it was a nice snack. It was a version of it. Got to enjoy it. I hope we get more.
Oh yeah, I do too. Like this is a version that I would be down to watch more. That's one. So great positives that we can talk about is that we want more. That's
Mhm.
always good to say that we want more, and it is its own thing. which is cool because it's not just a straight up like, oh, we're gonna myriad copycat that same lines, same shots. We're just gonna do it live action. It's not that. It's not what this show is. This is its own version.
Yeah. I mean, other positives, right? Great fight choreography,
Yep.
good horror elements when it does happen. It's not all throughout, but they're there.
Yeah.
Um, trying to think of other positives. I mean, some great character. So I mean, that right, the 50-50, you have some great character, representation. You have some not so good character development.
Yeah, we had a little mix of both. We had some really strong performances. Like I thought the villains were all really good. Kuwabara was great. Yusuke was great. We liked Kurama. Kurama was very solid. It's just, yeah, Hiei was the biggest problem I had. Botan, and then some missing characters. Some characters that they just chose to omit, like Kuwabara's sister. They just kind of chose to omit that character, which she's really great. She's a great character too.
Don't be mad. I just wanted to say hi because I saw you guys are recording and I was recording at the same time.
Oh, hello. We have a special guest.
I'm not staying because I don't even know what this is, but I saw that you guys are still recording and I was like, will he be mad? He won't be mad. I'll say hey.
Hello.
It's always a way to see your face, Angel. Always.
Hi, Norin. I just did influential with Scariest Cut. Like we were literally recording at the same time. So
I saw the
I will
room
keep-
there. I was like, I totally forgot you had it scheduled.
yeah, I think we have a couple of those this week. But anyway, I'm not going to stay. I don't even know. I just wanted to say hi. Hi, Norin. Hi, Steve.
Hello. I'm not going to even cut this out of the episode. Hi.
All right, you guys. So y'all have a good night. Enjoy your chat.
Bye. Have a good night.
You too.
Never know who's going to pop up around here in Voices from the Mausoleum. It's like an episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. But yeah, totally threw me off. We were talking about positives, right?
Yep, we were talking about big positives that we got from the show. Yeah.
I think we hit it. I think we hit on all of them, really. Humor, the fights, the horror, the characters.
Yeah.
I mean, the only real negatives is like, like some character. Oh, you said characters that didn't show or were, like the omissions, and I think that is a negative. But also, like, like some characters sort of got the shaft, right? Like some characters just weren't as loved by the script as they could have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest
definitely
thing was EA. I would say.
Yeah, and then besides Hiei, my other huge negative is that we felt like it's rushed. It's definitely rushed, and we could have done with 3 more episodes. Like for real, I would have took me as a fan after knowing if it's true that they cut the 3 episodes to do more production stuff and more on-set shooting. I would have been like, I will take the 3 episodes, like you said, to have more story elements, story beats. And to hit those moments, I think it would have been a little bit better. So it just felt a little, rushed.
Yeah, I totally would have sacrificed maybe, some of the special effects for, a little more development. Absolutely. 100%. Some people might feel differently and that's okay. But I do choose story over, substance over style. That's all. That's what I always say. Any other thoughts before we wrap up our Yu Yu Hakusho discussion?
No, not really. No, just thanks for hanging out with us, everybody out there. Thanks for spending time with us. And if you haven't yet, if this is your first time watching Yu Yu Hakusho and you've only watched the live action, you're gonna hear it from both of us right now that we totally recommend and think you should watch the anime too, because it's totally worth your time. It's an anime that is a big reason why anime's at where it's at today is because of shows like Yu Yu Hakusho. Because of shows like that and the story development that they did with that show, it's crazy. Shows like that and Dragon Ball Z and Cowboy Bebop really propelled anime to be where it is at today.
It really, really did. I think you nailed it. It was like DBZ, Yu Yu Hakusho, like Inuyasha, like those late 80s, early 90s into like the early 2000s anime. Like really, like the reason why we got Naruto and then One Piece and like all the stuff we really love now, right?
Yeah.
It all can go back, and there's even more stuff, years prior. Like, do your anime research for sure. But yeah, no, thank you all for checking us out. If you don't already, you should follow Norin on his channel. He does some awesome reviews. I still rave about his Scooby-Doo coverage. I still enjoyed the hell out of that. He does so much more than that though. So please definitely check him out. And hopefully, we'll have Norin on for either another TV recap, or well, actually, I want to have you back for Coffee Crypt while Angel's away. So we're gonna when we wrap up, we're gonna talk about that.
Cool beans. I'll definitely. I'm always 100% down to come back.
Hell yeah, we love to have you. All right, well, everyone, thanks for watching. We will check you out real soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Also, in case you missed it in the previous video, make sure that you go check out this awesome YouTube channel called Video Tasties. The slogan is protecting the past one VHS tape at a time. These guys do a lot of media stuff. 80s list, top list, physical media, collaborations, anything movie, film related, you can find there. There's some awesome like tons of stuff for you to check out on their channel. I'll make sure to link them in the description for this episode.